Hi, and welcome to episode 6 of CML Statehouse Report. I'm Megan Dollar, Legislative Advocacy Manager. Last week was a busy one with CML hosting our legislative workshop as well as our policy committee on Friday. Thank you to everyone that participated last week and attended. We appreciate the time our members invest in CML's legislative process. I'll go ahead and get started with my bills covering today. First, I want to talk about HB 20-1089, Employee Protection Lawful Off-Duty Activities. What the bill does is amend a statute that was originally adopted in 1990 and was designed to prohibit employers from discriminating against employees on the basis of the employee's lawful off-duty activities. The bill is intended to overturn the Colorado Supreme Court case of Coates v. Dish Network and say that employers cannot discipline or terminate an employee for off-duty use of medical marijuana. HB 1089 goes beyond medical marijuana and also applies to recreational marijuana as well. There is language currently in the statute that will not be affected by the bill, which states that employers can have the requirement if the employee is subject to federal standards, federal requirements. When Colorado voters approved the use of medical marijuana in 2000 and recreational in 2012, both constitutional amendments preserved the right of employers to control the use of marijuana by employees. Ultimately, CML believes this decision is a local decision and should remain with local employers, and we would like to see local employers eligible to able to drug test and enforce their own employment policies regarding drug use. CML's policy committee took up the bill last Friday and voted to oppose that legislation. Next, I want to mention a couple of bills that CML's policy committee voted to support last week. The first one is HB 20-1196, which updates the Colorado's existing Mobile Home Park Act. The bill is a follow-up to the new dispute resolution and enforcement program from last year's HB 19-1309, which CML also supported because it gave municipalities more authority to set regulations for mobile home parks. HB 20-1196 gives manufactured homeowners more rights around tenants issues such as evictions and retaliation, plus a public mechanism to have violations investigated and resolved. The issue of tenants' rights in mobile home parks has been an issue that's been brought to local governments to solve, and this bill provides clarity and dispute resolution options for issues that would otherwise be brought to our members to the attention of cities to resolve. Another bill around mobile home parks is HB 1201, which sets up mechanisms to provide manufactured home residents the opportunity to purchase a mobile home park that is up for sale. The process includes transparency and notification requirements, as well as allows residents to assign their purchase right to a municipality, housing authority, or a nonprofit. Colorado is in the midst of an affordable housing crisis, and from CML's perspective, HB 20-1201 allows for the preservation of a necessary type of affordable housing in local communities.
Good morning and happy President's Day. This week is shaping up to be another busy one down at the Statehouse. Tomorrow, House Bill 1279 will be up in the House Transportation Committee that follows the directives recommended by the CML Policy Committee last week. So we will be supporting this legislation. The bill provides an annual dedicated $2 million general fund transfer to support high visibility impaired driving enforcement and education funding for local governments. More than 50% of all DUI arrests in the state today are during these high visibility enforcement times, like the 4th of July and Memorial Day weekend, and have helped the state to reduce drunk driving related traffic fatalities by 50% since the 1980s. Also up next week is House Bill 1163, which is a broad bill title concerning the management of plastic products. The bill creates a statewide prohibition on a number of single-use plastic products, including single-use grocery bags. It also establishes a 10-cent fee on paper grocery bags. CML has been working closely with the bill sponsors on this to make sure that the fee structure in the bill does not preempt municipalities that have already implemented or are planning to implement a similar fee within their own city or town. We have also been working with them on an amendment that would allow a portion of the revenue generated by the fee to be used to support local recycling, waste reduction, and educational programs in the community. For this reason, our policy committee last week voted to support the legislation if it is amended to provide this new revenue source for Colorado cities and towns. Thanks and have a great week.
Hi, Hi, Brandy DeLange here at the Colorado Municipal League. I have a couple of updates for us, so let's get started. I have good news. Senate Bill 147, the annexation bill, was killed in committee on Friday morning, 5-0. I think ultimately the committee members felt like this was a local issue between El Paso County and Colorado Springs, and that overwhelmingly most of our municipalities and counties have really good collaborative working relationships on annexation. So the bill sponsor I think also achieved his ultimate goal, which was to bring the issue forward and get El Paso and Colorado Springs to have a conversation with one another. So that's out of the way now at this point. We also have an update on the electrical fence bill, House Bill 1129. It should be in committee this week on the 25th. And we are again hoping that the bill sponsor as well as the proponents take our suggestion, which is doing a work group and also focusing on city and county land use officials to help guide that conversation on what standardized definitions should look like for battery charged fences and alarm systems, that type of activity. The next bill is House Bill 1293. This is a new bill. This is the emergency telephone charge system bill, or more or less the E911 funding system. So what this bill does is it creates a statewide surcharge and then passes that money through to local governing bodies that do 911 servicing. For the most part, the bill that is quite lengthy is all focused on what the PUC's role is, what the surcharge looks like, and how to pass that money through to local governing bodies. However, there's one little piece in there that allows wireless 911 providers to apply to the High Cost Support Mechanism Fund in the Broadband Deployment Board for reimbursement of software, technology, and infrastructure. I think we have some concerns with that. The original intent of the broadband fund is to fund middle mile infrastructure for broadband itself, so that fiber, and not necessarily to fund wireless providers out there that are doing 911 servicing. So I think we'll have a pretty lengthy conversation with the bill sponsors about that. We've heard that there are other parties out there, other stakeholders out there that have some concerns with this language as well. So I expect that there will probably be some sort of stakeholder group at some point to address these concerns, but ultimately CML does have staff discretion to support the bill, and I think we'll be able to get there once the High Cost Support Mechanism Fund language is removed. Those are my updates for this week, and I hope you all have a good one.
Hi everyone, and happy President's Day. I'm going to give you a quick update on 3 bills I'm working on. The first is Senate Bill 153, Water Resource Financing Enterprise. This bill was postponed indefinitely last week in the Senate Agricultural and Natural Resources Committee. Senator Quorum, the bill sponsor, requested that funding for water infrastructure and supply be added to the list for discussion at the Water Interim Committee this summer. The second bill is House Bill 1138, Public Real Property Index. As a reminder, CML is opposed to this bill because it places an extensive and unnecessary burden on municipalities to collect and report property information to the state on an annual basis. This bill will be heard in the House Transportation and Local Government Committee on Wednesday. We will be testifying as opposed. So if you have a member that serves on the House Transportation and Local Government Committee, please contact them and ask them to vote no on this bill. The last bill I want to talk about is House Bill 1119, State Regulation of PFAS. CML, along with a group of stakeholders, are looking at amendment language to address concerns around liability and putting some sideboards around the rulemaking process to make sure that we're making rules with the best possible science and research. That bill has been delayed until March 2nd in the House Energy and Environment Committee. That's it for me. Have a great week.
That's it for this week's report. We'll see you next week. Thanks.